I want to tell you about September the 12th, 2007. Picked up my daughter Eleanor at school and took her to ballet, and then was going to run some errands. I was going to go to H-E-B and do some shopping, and I was watching my time. I had an hour. Got my groceries and took them out to the car, put them in the car, put my purse, phone, started the car up because it was really hot, and then was going to be a good Samaritan and park the basket. I heard clink, and lo and behold, the bells and whistles on my car had locked me out, and my phone was in there, everything, and it was running. And so I didn't want to bother my husband by calling him, so I just went into H-E-B, went to customer service, and called Papa Lock. And a gentleman came out in about 15 minutes and got me out of my car, made me a little spare key, and so I took off to the ballet studio, and I was late. And when I got there, I was met by all three of my daughters. My husband, Mike, had called them and said that our home was on fire, and he didn't want them to take me out to the house. I couldn't do that. So Sarah drove me out to the house, and Gabrielle took Eleanor to her house. And about 3 months before this happened, my husband Mike had been laid off. He was doing just odd jobs around the house, working on a shop, and when the fire started, he wasn't there. He was buying supplies at Lowe's. And he said he was coming home, and he said as he was coming down the roads, the farm to market roads, he saw this just terrible barreling smoke, and he thought, my goodness, what is that? And then the nearer he got to the house, he said his heart just sank because he could tell it looked like it was our home. There were fire departments already there, and of course that's when he made the call to the girls. We had to watch it burn. We just had to sit there and watch it burn. Biggest blessing, other than just the whole thing as a whole, was when a pastor and a youth pastor showed up.
I remember that night of the fire, and I didn't know this family. Jared came to me, and he'd gotten the phone call that this the boyfriend of one of our youth had a fire. And so we gathered up ourselves and headed out there and met that family, and it's a pretty daunting thing to meet a family for the first time when they're standing out in the front yard watching their house burn to the ground. And I remember circling up out in the front yard as their house burned and praying that God would somehow make something good come from this. And that was a blessed time for Jared and I both.
Within probably 4 weeks, my husband and I started going to that church. This is the good stuff. Yeah. Mike has rededicated his life to Christ, and then one by one, family member after family member after family member has started coming to Wylie Methodist. And not just because this is such a great place, it's because they found God there. It took God just taking everything away, even if it had to be through a fire. The day of the fire, I couldn't imagine why this was happening. Why did we deserve this? Why another disaster, another tragedy? But it took that for God to be glorified and to change lives. And he's rebuilt. He used a tragedy for his glory and to change so many hearts and so many lives. And he really even restored our physical home in the same place, and it's wonderful, and we use it for his glory.